for my purposes, the major part was that Colonel Jarvice, as they referred to him, was a personal friend of Babst, even though there were religious differences.
Really, a personal friend?
Yeah. He came over to the Kent residence. The Kent residence, I pointed out, Susan remembers, right near where the railroad station is, that area. And on the Sunday noon after the Saturday night tar and feathering and assault on Babst, Jarvice came up to that house and said that he wanted to invite Babst to come to stay with him in this house that evening, and he said, "I will defend you to the death," and so forth. And so, if you will, as I was telling you in the car, this, as we'll mention tonight, this steadfast friend of Babst, very devoted to him, indicated, "I will drive you over there." And Babst says, "No, I'm not going to let you. You've got 5 young children. It's still quite dangerous," but the fellow prevails. And so they go driving down Main Street, High Street, to Maine. And as I was showing you in the car, when they turned onto Maine, the plan was, and the fellow guiding the horse and buggy speeded the horse up, and they went down the hill lickety-split because the feeling was they didn't want anybody to know that Babst was in the wagon. So the feeling was onlookers would suspect that it was maybe a horse running out of control, the driver catching him. So they shoot down the road and up the hill here, and they stay. Now, if you read in the historical novel, The House of York, the allegation is, I think, that some of the Irish came and protected the house somewhat that night. As I recall, it's been sometimes since I've read.
So Babst was essentially Babst was he was brought to this house after he'd been tarred and feathered.
One day later.
One day later.
When he comes from, I believe, the intersection around Washington Street and Water Street, where the Tisdale shipyard was. He had been. They had said, "You've got to get out of here by midnight, or else we'll either kill you or castrate you." Several claims and all this, and he's sure. And so the group abandoned him. They go back to some of the taverns along the tavern around Water Street, and Babst gets himself together and gradually kind of stumbles down Water Street. I think either to Pine, possibly Elm, and makes his way back, trying to go back to the Kent residence, and he is. Finally, people have been out looking for him, and they catch him, and they take him to the Lee residence. It's another Irish family, and women of the Catholic community start scrubbing him and trying to get the tar and stuff off. And they shave off, and then the men come in to finish the work, and then they guide him up to the Kent residence, which is up near where the railroad station is, and where the shed actually is. And the Kent say, "Let us give you something to eat." And he says, "No, because I want to celebrate the Mass tomorrow. That was part of the reason I was here." And so he stays with the Kents overnight, cries out at the night coming, moans and so on. And then the following morning in the Catholic church, which is where the shuttle station is, there was a service, a very moving one, where basically members of the Catholic choir were in tears, and so they couldn't complete this songs and the hymns, and he doesn't look at them for fear that he will break down, so he kind of looks above them, as he said, and then they went after the service back to the Kent residence where he had dinner, and it was at that point that Colonel Jarvice came by. Earlier, Jarvice, this would be 4 months ago in June, had gone over at the time when there was an attempt to, before the successful one, there was an attempt to attack both the chapel and the church. And Jarvice came riding in to stop it, claiming, and he said something in the effect, "For the first time, I'm embarrassed for my American citizenship, what you people are." And demanded that they stop, and then he goes riding away, and supposedly as he's almost down to the bridge, he hears the breaking of glass and noise and such, and he goes riding back. The gang had started, and they had pretty much done a lot more damage there, and so forth. So, in Susan, the house has, in my little scope here, has amazing significance that way. Beyond it, as these people know much better than I, prominent, particularly the former Vice President Hannibal Hamlin lived here, and that was, and so forth, and other people.
Oh, his son. It was Hannibal Hamlin Jr.
His son, I say, right, exactly. Well, I was wrong on that. I forgot the son here.
I think that the original Hannibal Hamlin house is up in Bangor.
Yeah.
Yeah.